Chosen one, anchor your spirit and lock your attention on this message right now. That strange feeling you cannot explain, the sense that you are noticing more than you used to, is not something you need to fear. Maybe the last 72 hours have felt unusually intense. Perhaps ordinary conversations have carried hidden meaning, familiar places have suddenly felt unfamiliar, or you have needed more silence than usual just to hear your own thoughts. Maybe you have been waking at 3 road in the morning with your mind unusually clear, noticing patterns, remembering dreams, or feeling a deep pressure in your chest that disappears when you pray. Or perhaps you have been sensing when a room feels peaceful, and when it feels draining before anyone says a word. You are not strange for experiencing this. You are becoming aware, and the enemy is working overtime this week for one reason. Your attention is no longer completely controlled by fear, distraction, and noise. You are beginning to recognize what once passed right over you. You are learning the difference between anxiety and discernment, between isolation and sacred solitude, between coincidence and a pattern that deserves your reflection. It all begins to change now. The confusion, the self-doubt, the fear that you are imagining everything, the pressure to explain your inner life to people who cannot understand it. But hear this clearly, it is not changing because you are lucky. It is changing because you have started choosing stillness, honesty, and spiritual discipline, even when nobody applauded you. Think back to that moment this week when you ignored the urge to react. Maybe someone provoked you and you chose silence. Maybe you walked away from a conversation that would have pulled you back into an old version of yourself. Maybe you turned off your phone, sat alone, and allowed the uncomfortable truth to rise instead of escaping into distraction. You thought you were withdrawing. You thought you were losing momentum. But that pause was not weakness. It was discernment. That silence was not emptiness. It was where your awareness became strong enough to hear. You did not find this message by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here by itself. Something within you recognized the timing. This is a spiritual checkpoint, a moment to examine what has been awakening in you and decide whether you will honor it or keep dismissing it. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes I am going to help you identify the hidden signs of spiritual awakening without confusing them with fear. I am going to expose the lie that says your sensitivity makes you powerless. And at the end, I will give you a declaration to help you move through this season with clarity, protection, and grounded confidence. Do not scroll away. Your future self is depending on your willingness to understand what is happening instead of running from it. If you keep dismissing every inner signal, you may return to the same cycle of overthinking, ignoring your boundaries and giving your energy to places that leave you empty. You may feel suspended between who you were and who you are becoming. In that space, the enemy has been whispering a specific lie. You are imagining this. You are too sensitive. You are losing your connection to reality. You should go back to the way you were. He replays the moments when you felt different. The night you suddenly knew a friendship had changed. The morning you felt compelled to cancel a plan and later realized it protected your peace. The time you entered a room and sensed tension before anyone spoke. The dream you could not forget. The repeated number, phrase, song, or symbol that kept appearing when you were asking for direction. The lie is that every unusual experience must either be meaningless or frightening. But spiritual maturity is not blindly accepting every sensation as a supernatural message. It is learning to test what you feel. Does it produce wisdom or panic? Does it move you toward compassion, truth, and responsibility, or toward obsession and fear? Does it help you become more present, or does it pull you away from your life? Here is the spiritual truth that silences the lie. 1 John 4:8 says, "Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God." That is not a warning against awakening. It is a decree of discernment. You are not required to believe every thought, every dream, every coincidence, or every emotional wave. You are invited to examine them. What is from God will not require you to abandon wisdom, kindness, or grounded judgment. What is true can withstand patience. What is aligned will bring clarity instead of demanding panic. Your sensitivity is not the problem. Unexamined fear is the problem. Your awareness is not a curse. The absence of boundaries is what has exhausted you. You are not becoming disconnected from the world. You are learning how to be present in it without allowing every voice, mood, and demand to possess your spirit. If everything you just heard made your spirit burn, that was not this video. That was God confirming something He has been trying to tell you for months. But confirmation without action is the most dangerous place a chosen one can be. The inner sanctum was created to help you wake up every morning to a fresh prophetic word from God before the noise of the world reaches you. The link is in the first pinned comment, and this window will not remain open forever. Now hear the final reframe. The unusual dreams are not automatically proof that you are chosen above everyone else. They may be invitations to pay attention, to heal, to pray, and to become more honest with yourself. The solitude is not punishment, it may be preparation. The heightened awareness is not permission to fear everyone. It is a call to practice discernment. You are not being pulled away from life. You are being taught to move through life with your eyes open. You are not losing yourself, you are meeting yourself beneath the noise, and you are not required to prove your awakening to anyone. Let your transformation speak through your peace, your boundaries, your integrity, and the way you respond when nobody is watching. The greatest spiritual phenomenon is not seeing signs everywhere. It is becoming so clear, so grounded, and so aligned that you no longer need chaos to feel alive. Before we go deeper, if you feel this message is putting language to experiences you struggled to explain, take a moment to access the ebook connected to this message. It was created to help you discern what is happening within you, recognize the difference between spiritual awakening and emotional exhaustion, and walk through this season with greater clarity. Don't rush past it. Sometimes the right word arrives at the exact moment your spirit is ready to receive it. Because what you're experiencing is not simply that you notice more than other people, it is that you can no longer participate in what your spirit has already outgrown. You may walk into a room and immediately sense tension beneath the conversation. You may hear someone say, "I'm fine," while everything inside you recognizes that they are not. You may notice the smile that does not reach someone's eyes, the kindness that carries an expectation, or the silence that is filled with everything no one is willing to say. You may feel drained after certain interactions, not because you hate people, but because you are learning to distinguish connection from entanglement. There was a time when you might have ignored those impressions. You may have told yourself that you were imagining things, being too sensitive, or reading too deeply into ordinary moments. But awakening often begins when the inner voice becomes impossible to silence. It is the moment when your spirit starts noticing what your old identity worked very hard to overlook. You begin to recognize the difference between a genuine exchange and an emotional transaction, between someone sharing their heart and someone quietly placing their burden in your hands. And this is where many spiritually awakened people become confused. They assume that sensitivity means they are responsible for fixing everything they perceive. But discernment is not the same as obligation. You can recognize a storm without becoming the shelter for everyone standing in the rain. You can feel someone's pain without making it your identity. You can understand a person's wounds without giving them permission to wound you. You can pray for someone without chasing them, rescue them, or sacrificing your peace to prove that you care. This is one of the first difficult lessons of awakening. What you can perceive is not always what you are assigned to carry. Some burdens come into your awareness so you can pray, not so you can possess them. Some truths are revealed so you can respond wisely, not so you can become consumed by them. Even the priests and Levites in the parable of the Good Samaritan passed by the wounded man, while one person was moved to help him with compassion and practical action. But compassion did not require the Samaritan to become wounded beside him. He offered care, arranged support, and continued on his journey. There is a difference between love and losing yourself inside another person's crisis. Moses saw the suffering of his people, but he still had to be formed in the wilderness before he could confront Pharaoh. David was anointed long before he was prepared to sit on the throne. The oil came before the opportunity, but the wilderness came before the public responsibility. Even Jesus withdrew from crowds when the demands around him became intense. He went into solitary places to pray, to listen, and to return to the center of his assignment. If the Son of God made room for solitude, why have you been treating exhaustion as proof that you are spiritually useful? You have to stop confusing depletion with devotion. Some of the doors you keep trying to hold open were never yours to guard. Some people only have access to you because you have mistaken guilt for compassion. Some situations continue draining you because your empathy has become disconnected from wisdom. You keep pouring from a vessel that God has been asking you to refill, and then you wonder why your joy feels distant. So begin paying attention to what happens after you say yes. Not just what happens in the moment when your heart feels needed, but what happens afterward. Do you feel peace even if the assignment is difficult? Do you feel a quiet strength, a sense that your effort is aligned with love and truth? Or do you feel resentment, heaviness, confusion, and a quiet anger that no one appreciates what you keep sacrificing? Peace does not mean everything is easy, but it often carries a clean quality. Misalignment may look spiritual on the outside while producing chaos within. Learn to observe the fruit. A healthy yes may require courage, but it will not continually demand the destruction of your identity. A holy assignment may stretch you, but it will not repeatedly force you to betray your conscience. There is a difference between being challenged and being consumed. There is a difference between serving from love and performing from fear. When your yes is coming from fear of rejection, your body often knows before your mind admits it. It becomes restless, tight, and heavy. You begin negotiating with yourself, hoping the discomfort will disappear if you simply try harder. And this leads us to something most people miss. Awakening is not only about receiving more signs, it is about developing the courage to respond to what the signs are already showing you. You may have prayed for clarity, but clarity often arrives as a pattern you can no longer deny. The same disappointment, repeating. The same type of person entering your life. The same promise being made and broken. The same inner warning being ignored because you hoped this time would be different. You keep asking heaven for a new answer while resisting the truth revealed in the old one. At some point, the sign is not another coincidence. The sign is your exhaustion. The sign is the loss of peace. The sign is the way your body tightens every time you return to what your spirit has been asking you to release. The sign may be the door that closes repeatedly, the opportunity that keeps dissolving, or the relationship that only works when you silence yourself. Sometimes God's mercy looks like interruption. Sometimes protection feels like disappointment because you were emotionally attached to what could not accompany you into the future. This does not mean every uncomfortable feeling is divine instruction. Trauma can speak loudly too. Fear can imitate intuition. Anxiety can dress itself in spiritual language. That is why awakening requires more than sensitivity. It requires testing. The Apostle John said to test the spirits, and that principle still matters. Not every thought deserves belief. Not every dream demands action. Not every intense connection is destiny. Not every unusual experience is a message from beyond. The spiritually mature person does not ask only, "Did I feel something?" They ask, "What fruit did this produce? Did it lead to truth, humility, patience, and love? Or did it inflate fear, superiority, suspicion, and urgency?" A revelation that makes you cruel is not wisdom. A spiritual experience that convinces you that everyone else is asleep while you alone are chosen may not be awakening at all. It may be the ego searching for a sacred costume. Real awakening does not make you despise ordinary people. It does not turn you into someone who looks down on those who are still learning. It makes you more patient with the process, more honest about your own blind spots, and more willing to let love become practical. The light you receive is not meant to become a spotlight you shine into other people's faces. It is meant to become a lamp for your own next step. Stay with me, because this is where the message begins to confront the parts of awakening no one likes to discuss. You may have noticed that your dreams have become more vivid, your intuition sharper, and your awareness of timing more pronounced. You think of someone, and they call. You sense a change before it becomes visible. You notice repeating symbols, unexpected encounters, and moments that feel arranged with almost impossible precision. These experiences can be meaningful, but their purpose is not to make you obsessed with decoding every detail. Their purpose is to make you more present. A sign is not a substitute for consciousness. If a repeated symbol makes you more awake to your choices, it has served you. If it causes you to become anxious, dependent, and unable to act without another confirmation, then the symbol has become a cage. You were not given intuition so that you could abandon your judgment. You were given awareness so that you could live with greater honesty. The danger is that you can become so focused on signs that you miss the assignment directly in front of you. You can spend hours searching for the meaning of a number while avoiding the conversation you already know you need to have. You can study the language of the universe while refusing to tell the truth in your own home. You can ask for confirmation after confirmation because obedience feels more frightening than uncertainty. Sometimes the sign is not hidden in the clouds. Sometimes it is the quiet instruction you keep postponing. Clean the room, end the agreement, apologize, forgive without reopening the door, apply for the opportunity, rest, tell the truth. Stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Begin the work before you feel fully ready. Return the call. Make the appointment. Put the phone down and listen to your own thoughts. A spiritual life is not built only in extraordinary moments. It is built through small acts of alignment, repeated until your life becomes a truthful reflection of what you believe. Noah did not build the ark because the weather made sense. He built it because he trusted the instruction before the evidence became visible. But notice this, his faith still required labor. He had to measure, cut, lift, persist, and continue while people around him questioned the vision. Spiritual insight without practical obedience becomes entertainment. A revelation is not complete until it changes what you do. And once you begin acting on what you know, something else may happen. The people around you may not recognize you anymore. The version of you who was always available, always agreeable, always willing to absorb discomfort for the sake of keeping peace, begins to disappear. And when that happens, some people will call your boundaries selfish. They may say you have changed. They may accuse you of becoming distant, difficult, or proud. Let them observe the change. You are not required to remain familiar to people who benefited from your lack of boundaries. Growth often feels threatening to those who were comfortable with your confusion. They may not miss you. They may miss the access they once had to your time, your energy, and your constant forgiveness. That is painful to recognize, but it is also clarifying. Even Jesus disappointed crowds. He did not heal every person in every town. He did not answer every demand made of him. He understood that being compassionate did not mean being controlled by the urgency of others. If you are truly awakening, you will learn that a closed door can be just as holy as an open one. A boundary can be an act of love toward yourself. And sometimes the most honest prayer is not, "Use me for everything," but "Show me what is mine to do and give me grace to leave the rest." But here is where it goes deeper. You cannot enter a new level of discernment while remaining loyal to an old version of yourself. The old version may have survived by staying quiet, anticipating everyone's needs and asking for permission to exist. It may have called people-pleasing kindness. It may have called self-abandonment loyalty. It may have called fear wisdom because fear sounded more reasonable than faith. You have to examine the agreements you made in moments of pain. Perhaps you decided that you would never trust again. Perhaps you promised yourself that you would always remain in control. Perhaps you built an identity around being the strong one, the wise one, the one who never needs help. Those decisions may have protected you once, but protection can become a prison when the danger has passed. Ask yourself what rules you are still obeying even though the season that created them is over. Who taught you that needing support was weakness? Who convinced you that love had to be earned through exhaustion? When did you begin believing that being low maintenance was the same as being spiritually mature? You may not be carrying the original wound anymore, but you may still be carrying its instructions. Peter had to be shown a vision that challenged his entire understanding of who was clean, who was worthy, and who could be welcomed. His awakening was not merely an increase in knowledge. It was the collapse of a boundary he believed heaven had established. That is often how real transformation feels. It does not just give you new information, it confronts the conclusions you built your life around. Coming up is the part that may challenge you most, the possibility that some of what you call discernment is actually an old wound trying to remain in control. You say you can sense when people are unsafe, and sometimes you can, but sometimes you are detecting familiarity, not danger. A person may not be toxic simply because they do not respond exactly as someone from your past responded. A quiet room may not be rejection. A delayed message may not be abandonment. A disagreement may not mean the relationship is ending. If every unfamiliar experience feels threatening, you may not be discerning the future. You may be defending yourself from the past. The past can become a lens so polished that you forget you are looking through it. You see one raised voice and immediately return to every argument you survived. You see one moment of distance and feel the entire weight of being left. The present becomes crowded by ghosts. This is why healing and awakening must travel together. Otherwise, your intuition becomes crowded by unprocessed memories. You may call it a spiritual warning when it is actually a nervous system remembering what happened before. You may reject a blessing because it arrives in a form you do not recognize. You may pray for healthy love, then sabotage it because peace feels suspicious after years of chaos. A calm relationship can feel boring when your body has been trained to mistake unpredictability for passion. A trustworthy person can feel strange when you are accustomed to earning affection. A stable opportunity can feel frightening when disappointment has taught you to expect the ground to disappear. Healing gives you the ability to remain present long enough to discover that not every unfamiliar thing is dangerous. The divine does not merely reveal what is around you. The divine reveals what is within you. And sometimes the thing being exposed is not an enemy outside the door, but the fear that has been living inside the house. So slow down. Before reacting, ask yourself, what is actually happening right now? And what am I adding to it because of what happened then? Give truth a chance to separate itself from memory. Let your body settle before making permanent decisions from temporary intensity. Wisdom rarely needs to scream. It can wait while you breathe. It can withstand questions. It does not need to manipulate you with panic. As you practice this, you will begin to notice another strange phenomenon. The more aligned you become, the less interested you are in proving that you are aligned. You stop announcing every insight. You stop needing everyone to validate what you sense. You stop chasing the title of chosen because you understand that being chosen is not a trophy. It is a responsibility. Joseph could have used his dreams to elevate himself above his brothers, but the deeper work was learning how to steward revelation without becoming arrogant. Daniel served with excellence in a foreign empire without losing his inner devotion. Esther did not receive influence so she could be admired. She received access so she could act when silence would have cost others their lives. Spiritual maturity makes you quieter in some places and bolder in others. You no longer speak simply because you have something to say. You speak when your words can serve truth. You no longer expose every secret you perceive. You understand that knowing something does not automatically give you permission to reveal it. Some knowledge is meant to deepen your prayer, not become material for public judgment. This is a major shift. Awakening is not the ability to see everything. It is the wisdom to know what to do with what you see. And just when you think the battle is against external darkness, another layer appears. Sometimes the greatest temptation is not to become evil. It is to become so obsessed with evil that you lose your capacity to recognize goodness. You begin interpreting every delay as an attack, every person as a threat, every closed door as spiritual warfare. You become vigilant but not peaceful, alert but not free. There are battles you must fight, but there are also distractions designed to keep you fighting shadows while neglecting your healing. Not everything is a demonic attack. Some things are consequences. Some things are consequences. Some things are invitations to grow up. If you blame the enemy for every pattern, you may never take responsibility for the choices sustaining it. This is where humility becomes protection. Ask God to show you where you need authority, but also where you need accountability. Ask for deliverance, but do not refuse discipline. Ask for a breakthrough, but do not keep feeding the habit that built the wall. Sometimes the miracle is not that circumstances change instantly. Sometimes the miracle is that you finally stop cooperating with what keeps harming you. Because here is the part you probably did not expect. The thing blocking your next level may not be your past, your enemies, or even your fear of failure. It may be your attachment to being understood by people who are committed to seeing you through an outdated lens. You have spent so much energy trying to prove that your heart is good, your intentions are pure, and your transformation is real. But freedom begins when you realize that some people will misunderstand you, regardless of how carefully you explain yourself. Even Jesus was called a deceiver by those who refused to see him clearly. Truth does not become false because someone rejects it. You are not called to drag every person into your awakening. Some people can only meet you at the level of your former identity, and if you keep returning there to convince them that you have changed, you will keep shrinking to fit their expectations. Release the need to be witnessed by everyone. God saw the hidden years of David before the public crown. Heaven witnessed Joseph in the prison before people honored him in the palace. Your unseen obedience is not wasted because it is unseen. Roots grow in darkness before branches appear in the light. What is being formed quietly within you may one day support a life that could not have been built through applause alone. But there is one more confrontation. You may believe you are waiting for divine timing, when in reality you are waiting for divine permission to stop being afraid. You call it patience, but beneath it is perfectionism. You call it preparation, but beneath it is avoidance. You say you are waiting for the right sign, the right season, the right confirmation, while your spirit already knows that the next move will require courage. Divine timing does not always feel like certainty. Sometimes it feels like enough light for the next step and no light beyond that. The Israelites received manna one day at a time, not because God wanted to tease them, but because dependence cannot be learned through having the entire map. You do not need to know how every chapter ends before you honor the sentence you are currently living. You do not need the whole staircase illuminated before you place your foot on the next step. Faith is not the absence of questions. It is the decision to move without allowing unanswered questions to become an excuse for permanent stagnation. So take the next honest step, not the most impressive one, not the one that will make everyone applaud, the honest one. The step that brings your outer life into agreement with what your inner life has already understood. Let your choices become a quiet altar. Let your schedule, relationships, habits, and words begin to reflect the truth you say you believe. And now you can see the hidden truth beneath all of this. Awakening is not about becoming extraordinary in the eyes of other people. It is about becoming truthful before God. The phenomena, the dreams, the sensitivity, the synchronicities, the sudden knowing, these are not the destination. They are invitations. They are meant to lead you beyond fascination and into character, beyond mystery and into love, beyond awareness and into surrender. The greatest evidence that you are transforming is not that you can sense darkness. It is that you no longer need to become dark in order to survive it. It is that you can hold power without cruelty, knowledge without pride, boundaries without hatred, and discernment without suspicion. It is that you can remain tender without becoming available to abuse, powerful without needing control, and separate without becoming disconnected from love. Place your hand over your heart and say this with sincerity. I release the need to understand everything before I move. I release the fear that has disguised itself as wisdom. I release every identity built around pain, rejection, and survival. I receive clarity without obsession, sensitivity without fear, and discernment without judgment. I trust God to guide me, correct me, and strengthen me. I will not carry what was never assigned to me. I will not return to what my spirit has outgrown. I will take the next honest step with humility, courage, and peace. What is meant for me will not require me to abandon myself, and what is leaving me is making room for a truer life. If this message reached a place in you that words have not been able to reach, share the one insight that confronted you most honestly. Not to perform your spirituality, but to mark the moment you recognized something real. And if you know someone quietly experiencing this awakening, send this to them as a reminder that they are not strange for sensing deeply, changing completely, and choosing a life that finally agrees with their soul.